Hey, this is Chad with Anarchy Off-Road Utah, and today's the last day that we have the KRX comp car, so we figured it'd be a good time for us to answer a few questions that we've received over the social media platforms. So, Marcy, what's the first question we got?
Why remove all the plastics?
So, we removed all the plastics off the car because we plan to go do competitions, so it's going to wind up rolled, smashed on its lid, all kinds of things. So what we did is got rid of the plastics, that way we have room to put an exo cage on, and somebody else can have those plastics that's wrecked their car, trying to make it back pretty, or whatever reasons that is.
Okay. Do you plan to add portals?
Do we plan to add portals? Those of you that know me know that I am a portal guy. So, no, I actually do not plan to add portals to this car. I want to keep it low slung weight. I want to keep it where it's going to be usable. I want to keep it to where it is more glued to the rock and low center of gravity. So unfortunately, at this point in time, I do not plan to do any type of portals of any kind.
And what are your plans for the suspension?
So great question. So yesterday, Marcy and I spent all day pulling these springs and messing with everything. Anyway, I absolutely love suspension, understanding how it works, understanding what you need from the suspension. So we spent probably 6 to 8 hours yesterday messing with the suspension. Right now, what we have just a heavier tender spring, stock bottom spring. We have ran the spanners all the way up. We've ran the crossover rings all the way up, and we're only running about 50 psi in the shock itself because it just needs to be a marshmallow and basically a slinky, an accordion. It needs to work well together back and forth, and that's how we've done it with other cars in the past, and this car is going to perform great having those things done to it. Other than that, the same thing with the front. We just adjusted the spanner rings. We put the tender spring on and pulled it down to about 50 psi worth of nitrogen, and it should be pretty happy. We're unknown. We still have to add the exo cage and the cage and everything, so we're unknown about how heavy the car is going to be. So we really couldn't get right down in the nitty gritty on tuning the suspension. But for what we know right now, and with the first event coming up, it should be set up very close to where home is going to be. But I'm sure we'll make some minor changes once we get the car weighted and figure out exactly where it's going to be. What's the next one?
Do you plan to stretch it?
Stretching the KRX. Man, this is a crazy question. I think stretching the KRX two-seater would be a phenomenal idea. I'm going to tell you my reasonings on why I don't think it's ever going to happen. One, the course that they had down in Farmington, New Mexico was a very tight, narrow course. And I really do feel like We Rock's going to pick up these events and try to run with them. So I'm trying to lean more towards what I know they're going to do versus what maybe per se Trail Hero or UTV Invasion or whoever has another event, what they think is going to be in their rules. So I'm kind of leaning more towards the We Rock side of things, just because I think all of them have a potential to have a future, all these events. I just think that We Rock is going to try to push them more with the events they already have in all the towns they already are dealing with. So therefore, watching a stretched two-seater KRX do the competition in Farmington, the guys killed it. They did a phenomenal job, but there was a few gates and obstacles that had just struggled just enough to where having the shorter wheelbase would have been a benefit to the doubt. So my plans are going to be not to stretch it whatsoever, and if I need to change something or add something because say the front end of the car is too light, we have tons of options. We can fill the front tires full of water, we can fill bars full of lead, we can do all kinds of things to get the front end down. So for right now, we're just going to kind of roll with what the wheelbase is. We're not going to do a forward A-arm. We're not going away from any of that stuff whatsoever. So this car will stay at a 100-inch wheelbase. What's the next question?
What is your plans for the exo cage?
Oh, plans for the exo cage. So that is why today is the last day that we have the car. It is headed down to St. George tomorrow. we're gonna go drop it off with Lane at Voodoo, and he just kind of has full creativity to see what he comes up with. So that's the plans for that. And we only have a couple weeks before the event for Trail Hero, so we don't have a ton of time to really master exactly what we want to get done, but we'll get this first obstacle / event out of the way, and then like I said, we can fine tune the rest of it, add things, take things away, learn from the event, and then just kind of grow the car from there.
This one's a good one. Do you plan to upgrade any of the drivetrain components?
Drivetrain components. So we actually already have. So inside here, the clutches, it has JBS 18% gear reductor clutches. I also do not run a primary spring in the primary. This KRX will run fully off just the wet clutch system. That is how my 4-seater has been for the last few years, and I cannot begin to tell you how much I love it. JBS clutching has been a huge help in our accomplishments over the year, just because he's been, one, a great friend. He's available to answer questions. The product just works. I mean, we've had it in the 4-seater. It's proven itself. It's been through what I would say hell and back, and still been reliable. It's never had any issues, and it's just been great. So clutching is done. Other than that, like besides wheels and tires, you guys, like I'm not changing anything on this car. The A-arms, the trailing arms, everything's gonna stay stock for multiple reasons. One, availability. I have over here, I have probably 16 different sets of A-arms and trailing arms and radius rods just off of our friends' vehicles that we've put aftermarket stuff on, our own KRXs that we've put aftermarket stuff on. So I kind of feel like it's just one of those win-win situations where we can take the stuff off the shelf, take it with us. I mean, it's already got ball joints pressed in it. We have multiple racks here. We have multiple stock tie rods here. We have all the reasonings to just enjoy the car and keep going down that road. In the future, I would like to do possibly like a billet output shaft out of the transmission and a billet input shaft going into the front differential, and probably the Root Performance upgraded front differential locker and pin, because that's what we run in the 4-seater, and we've just not had any problems with the drivetrain on that thing. So we'll probably continue to go down that road of just keeping it as close to what we've done with the KRX, minus the portals, the long travel, and all that crazy stuff.
What is with the crazy air filter in the back?
The crazy air filter in the back. Okay, so these are not crazy air filters. At least I don't think so. So on one side, you have the air intake for the stock box, stock air filter. And on the other side, you have the air intake for the belt system. So basically, on your stock KRX, here sits a filtration box, well, an air box, and the same with the other side. The passenger side is for the belt, and the driver's side is for the engine. So we just added these pipes because we removed the other ones, and we're not running them. So this is just to protect the engine and the clutch system so that sand, dirt, debris, things like that doesn't get in the system and cause us an issue in the future. So it's definitely serves a purpose. By no means did we make this car to be pretty. We made this car to be efficient and do the job that we choose it to do during the competitions. So being pretty is just okay to not be pretty on this one. What's the next question?
What made you go with the Rockzilla over other tires?
Oh my goodness, the sticky tire debate. There's a billion videos out there on who's this, that, and the other. And I'll be the first one to tell you, as a company and as a friend, there's a lot of great tire manufacturers out there. And I can only speak from the tires that I've personally ran. We started off rock crawling in the side-by-sides with the Rockzilla. It's an amazing tire. For the Western Hemisphere, I'm probably going to catch a ton of grief over this, but in the Western Hemisphere, I feel like it's probably the best sticky tire on the market. It performs phenomenally. It airs down great. There is some flaws with it. It does have a lot of tire roll, things like that at low PSI, but it's just a killer tire for where we live. It's a killer tire for Moab and Sand Hollow. But don't take me wrong. Like I run Obar 37-inch tires on my 4-seater because they're the only company, well, one of a couple companies that offer a 37 and a 15-inch wheel. And I did not want to go to a 17-inch wheel, so we stuck with the O-bars on that build. They've been phenomenal tires. They've done great. I have no complaints over them whatsoever. And I know that there's a bunch of other companies now that are offering some stickies. And like I said, I'm one of those people when it comes down to, well, building a competition car, I want to know what I'm running, that I have some experience with it, and I know that the reliability is going to be on our end, and that is why we chose the Maxxis Rockzillas. And they are a 35, 10, 15 on this car. They're not a 37. So what's the next question?
This is the last question, and I think it's a really great question. Why a KRX and not something turbocharged?
Okay. So, why a KRX and not something turbocharged? I'm going to give you a mechanical standpoint, a financial standpoint. I feel like the KRX wins them all. And I know, I'm probably going to get roasted alive in the comments. That's totally fine. I love rock crawling. I am not a sand dunes person. I'm not a go fast person. Not to say it's not fun and enjoyable, but the area that I live and what I do is rock crawling. So I've had a Turbo R. We built a shop Turbo R. I think they're a killer car. Down in San Rafael Swales, we had so much fun with that trip in that car. I have nothing bad to say. But let's talk about a comp car. So say I wound up with a 2-seater XP Turbo or even a Turbo S. We're right out of the gate, we have problems. One, they're not a 100-inch wheelbase car, so it has to be stretched. And unfortunately, that's not cheap or free, neither's pipe. So you've got all that to deal with. On top of that, we all know the front diff isn't going to hang, so we're going to put a hill killer. We're going to do a Sandcraft kit. So there's more time, more money, things like that. Then we got to talk about the clutching. That's not going to hold either. Then we got to talk about the transmission. We'd have to gear duct the transmission. So that there's all these components. Not saying that Polaris builds a bad car, because they really don't. They sell a car that can be formed into whatever you choose it to be. And the KRX is like, it's the GOAT of rock crawling in my opinion. It's the greatest of all time because you can buy it. So this is a stock car behind me. There's nothing aftermarket about it other than it has a set of aftermarket seats and it has wheels and tires on it and some tender springs. Oh, and the ECM is tuned. Other than that, this is a stock car that you can buy from the factory, put 35-inch tires on it, and go rock crawl and have fun with your friends. So I think for the purpose of what we're doing, this is the best car. Now, yes, you're totally right. There's probably going to be an obstacle or a point where I'm like, man, I wish I had a little bit more. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And it's not going to be there. But unfortunately, we had a short time frame. Like I said, we just got this car, what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
And this is Sunday of the same week. We stripped this car. We put all of the clutches in. We did all the suspension. Like, we put a lot of work into this car because we only were able to have it for a week before I had to leave for St. George till literally the day of the event. This car leaves today or tomorrow morning, and we will not see it back until we show up at Trail Hero for the tire shootout, and that's it. So we had to get it as far as we could, and unfortunately, if we would have bought a different machine, we wouldn't have been able to be as far as we are now. One, because of time. Two, because that's just a lot of money. I don't think we could have got all the parts in time to do everything. There's no way in the world we'd have time to stretch it. So I hope that helps you understand on why I chose the KRX platform. Oh, and I have a million parts. I have a ton of parts for this thing. Nobody wants stock parts. So it's like, why not go enjoy them? You know, if we break an arm, we break a trailing arm, we break a ball joint, we break an axle, I have shelves and shelves and shelves of factory stuff. So that's why we chose what we chose, and we love the KRX platform. But like I said, not saying that their other platforms are bad, because they're not. They all have their own world, and they can all be built into what they want. But anyway, we are super excited, and I can't wait to show you guys the car when we get down to Sand Hollow, because once I drop this thing off, even I'm not going to know what it looks like until I just show up and go to the event. We're literally going to leave about 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe even earlier, on the day of the event, October 1st. The event starts at 2 p.m. That's not counting a driver's meeting, not counting we probably need to go through the car a little bit and make sure we're happy with it. There might be some suspension changes we need to make just due to the added weight. We don't know. So that's what makes all this fun, is we have a great community of other companies that we all just work together to make this stuff work. So anyway, we're excited, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for following along, and we will see this thing in about 2.5 weeks at the Maxxis Tire Shootout, and we'll see how it goes.